Do you need to be taking protein powder to maximize muscle gain? And if so, when should you take it? What kind should you be taking in the first place? What's up guys, my name is TylerPath and today I'm gonna be talking about everything you need to know about protein powder. So let's get into it. Gonna need to take out the protein cart for this one. So while protein powder doesn't provide any unique advantages compared to other more natural sources of protein, deciding whether you should take protein powder or not to maximize muscle gain comes down to your protein intake. Ideally, at minimum, you wanna try to hit 0.8 grams of protein per pound of lean body weight. However, if you're in a dieting stage where you're either cutting, you're in a calorie deficit for a prolonged period of time, or maybe you're not bulking, like you're just main gaining, then it becomes even more important to make sure you're hitting an adequate protein intake. I would say if you're cutting and dieting, you should aim for 1 gram per pound of body weight. And then if you're obese and overweight, take your height in centimeters and whatever grammage that is, that's how much protein you should be ideally consuming if you want to maximize muscle gain. So what I recommend is for an entire week, get a food scale and measure how much protein you're actually consuming in your daily life. Follow your normal diet and see if you're hitting your protein intake. If you're struggling to actually meet that protein intake, then maybe it's worthwhile to incorporate some protein powder in your life. You see, the idea with taking protein powder is it's just a convenient way to get 15 to 30 grams of protein in just one really short sitting. So now you decided maybe I should be taking protein powder, but when should you actually be taking in the first place? Let me explain. So you may have heard of like the 1 hour rule where after your workout, you need to take some sort of protein shake within the 1 hour to like maximize muscle gain. And while this does have some validity to it, it is not the end all be all. It's not like if you don't take protein powder within the hour, you're just gonna shrivel up and not build any muscle. In fact, muscle protein synthesis lasts around 4 to 5 hour intervals, meaning you have roughly, let's say on average, 5 times per day for muscle protein synthesis to occur. So most optimally, you want to be spreading your protein intakes across 5 different meals, but I think more realistically it's 4 different meals. Because if you're already prioritizing natural proteins in your meals, you have breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then maybe a protein shake after your workout as your like daily meal schedule. But at the end of the day, meal timing really doesn't matter too much. I wouldn't stress on this topic. If like you do intermittent fasting, I don't think it's the end all be all. I'm just speaking in terms of doing things in the most optimal manner. So that's if and when you should be taking protein powder. But let's get into what kinds of protein powders are out there with, of course, my sponsor, MyProtein. So I'm gonna be showing you guys a full stack here. Let's go. All right, so let's get into the fun part, the protein powder breakdown. So let's start with the vegetarian but non-vegan protein powders, starting with the most popular one, and that is whey protein. Now, whey protein is derived from milk. It is a fast digesting protein and is a complete protein, meaning it comes with all 9 essential amino acids. Here we have MyProtein Impact Whey Protein in the pumpkin spice flavor, which is probably my favorite protein powder flavor ever. Now, 1 scoop, which is 25 grams, comes with 100 calories, 1.5 grams of total fat, 3 grams of carbs, 1 being sugar, and 18 grams of protein. Now, as you can see, there's a little bit of fats, a little bit of carbs in it because this is whey concentrate. It's not nearly as filtered as the other forms, which doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It still comes with 18 grams of protein, which is very solid and is still gonna give you protein, but because it is less filtered, it comes with a little bit of extra. So consider it as an affordable option. Does that 1.5 grams of total fat really make a difference? That is up for you to decide. Let's move on to the second one. Now, a step above whey concentrate is whey protein isolate. I have here MyProtein's Impact Whey Isolate in the vanilla flavored. Really solid flavor as well. Now, the difference between whey isolate and whey concentrate is whey isolate is just slightly more filtered, meaning it is more pure protein, and you'll understand when I read the macros. The same 1 scoop, which is 25 grams, comes with 90 calories, 0 grams of total fat, 2 grams of carbs, and 20 grams of protein. So this has more protein per scoop and doesn't have any fat, which ideally, if you're a protein powder maximalist trying to get the best protein to calorie ratio, this is a better option than concentrate. Maybe if you're dieting, whey isolate would be a better option than concentrate. But because it is more filtered, it is also more expensive. So consider that when you're trying to decide which protein powder to go with. Now, real quick, if you're interested in getting any of these protein powders, definitely use code PATH for a big discount. I know for Black Friday, the discount's gonna be very, very hefty. It's gonna be bigger than the regular MyProtein discount. So definitely use code PATH for, I believe, 50% off on Black Friday, which is, whew, that is a good discount on these products. Now, if you think whey isolate's great, there's an even more filtered form. Let me show you. Now there is a form called hydrolyzed whey protein, which is the most filtered form of protein powder. Now MyProtein does sell hydrolyzed whey, but it's a little bit different and I'm gonna be getting into that later. Another thing they sell is a tri-blend, mixing the combination of whey concentrate, isolate, and hydrolyzed whey protein. And that is with this MyPro, the Whey. So this is MyProtein's professional sports athlete protein powder line. The difference here with this protein powder blend is that despite it all being whey protein still, it also contains a special digestive enzyme that helps you digest this better if you have lactose. For one scoop, which is 33 grams, so slightly bigger than the last one, it contains 130 calories, 1 gram of total fat, 4 grams of total carbs, one of which being sugar, and 25 grams of protein. So this packs a whopping 25 grams of protein. Pretty decent. And it comes in many great flavors. This being cookies and cream, which, ooh, I'm excited to try. Matter of fact, MyProtein has so many different flavors, you are bound to find something that you actually like. Now, if you're looking for something lower in calorie, well, I got you. MyProtein has a really clever product. It's the smartest product they ever thought of, and that is MyProtein's Clearway line. Now, I have 4 Clearways. I actually gave my friend a few flavors as well. Like, you can kind of tell I'm a big fan of these. The reason why I like Clearway so much is, if you notice, the flavors are like juice or like Kool-Aid. It's almost like pre-workout flavors, which in my mind is like the smartest thing they've ever come up with. It's the best idea ever. And it's actually super useful because, you know, when you're taking protein powder, you probably have some sort of connotation where it's gonna be like milky, kind of, you know you're taking protein. And let's say when you're bulking and you're full, it's not the easiest thing to down, but because Clearway is pretty much like drinking a juice, it's like the most stealthy way to incorporate more protein in your diet. And even with all that going for it, it doesn't stop there. For one scoop, which is 24.5 grams, this contains 80 calories, 0 of which comes from fat, 0 of which comes from carbs. All of it comes from the 20 grams of protein that one scoop contains. So this is pure protein. It's hydrolyzed whey after all, which is generally the most filtered and most expensive form of whey protein to begin with. So for them to package it in this type of juice-like flavor, it's just a mind-blowing product. In fact, this is definitely one of my favorite products from MyProtein. And look at the flavors. They have like regular stuff like dragon fruit, there's a lemonade, but they also got Jelly Belly, Berry Blue, Sour Watermelon, Sour Cherry. This is my favorite Clearway flavor, Mike and Ike Sour Cherry. So I'm excited to see what other flavors they end up coming out in the future with. I'll give my recommendations at the end of this video, but this is definitely gonna be on the list. All right, big update. I just got off the phone with MyProtein. If you guys want a free tub of dragon fruit Clearway, this 1.1 pound tub, literally this one right here, if you use code PATH on November 25th, you're gonna be getting not only 50% off, but also this for free. Literally everyone. Like, all you have to do is use my code starting from November 25th at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time, going all the way to November 26th, the next day, 9:30 EST. So you basically get 24 hours to use my code. You're gonna be getting this for free, on top of the additional 50% off that's already gonna be running. So definitely use my code on that day. That's actually crazy. I've never seen a discount like that, but back to the video. But it doesn't stop there. They also have a hydration / protein supplement known as Clearway Electrolyte. Now this is kind of unique. It comes with B vitamins as well, and it's marketed as a hydration product. So if you guys aren't familiar with electrolytes, essentially electrolytes are vital for your performance in the gym and on the field, but also basic bodily functions. Long story short, you need electrolytes. And it becomes an issue when you start sweating a lot during a workout, because when you sweat, you lose a lot of the electrolytes in the first place. So that's kind of the idea with taking electrolytes intra-workout. So generally you think of protein powder as a post-workout type of supplement. This is gonna be more of an intra-workout supplement, meant to be taken either during or shortly after your exercise. Now here we got this nice orange flavor. For one scoop, which is 14.1 grams, this comes with 40 calories, 0 of which is fat, 1 of which is carb, and 10 grams of protein. So this is less than protein, but of course, it is a hydration product, right? This shouldn't be taken as your daily protein powder necessarily, in my mind. And for the next two, we got the Nonwe, non-vegan protein powders. And first one is the slow digesting casein. Now, casein protein is also derived from milk. However, while whey protein is meant to be fast digesting, casein is meant to be slow digesting. The rationale is you take it at night before bed, and then your body has a constant source of protein throughout the night while you're fasting. Because of that, this is known as the nighttime protein powder. Benefits included being beneficial for satiety, so keeping you full. It is also a complete protein like all the other whey proteins. So I don't actually have casein here at home, so I'm just gonna read off MyProtein's website. So for 1 scoop, which is 30 grams, this contains 110 calories, 1 gram of total fats, 3 grams of total carbs, 1 of which being sugar, and 23 grams of protein. So pretty solid. It is not the most filtered, of course, but I would recommend for most people sticking to whey protein over casein. And then next we have a non-vegetarian protein, and that is collagen protein. Now, collagen is an incomplete source of protein, so it is not really good for muscle protein synthesis, if it is the only form of protein you're consuming in that meal. Some meta-analysis shows evidence of collagen protein being good for a reduction in joint pain and promoting skin health, such as reducing wrinkles, improving skin hydration, and restoring skin elasticity, but I didn't hear anything about muscle, and while having nice skin is great, something I definitely know a lot about, I'm obviously right now coming more from a fitness lens, looking in at different protein supplements. So in my mind, right, I think more research is needed to clarify the effectiveness of collagen protein. So me personally, I would hold off on taking collagen protein powder unless you're like dealing with joint pain or you want to improve your skin. Now next up, I have what I'm gonna call the semi-vegan protein powders, and that is the Whey Forward line. Now, MyProtein Whey Forward, this is supposed to be marketed as the next iteration of what whey protein powder should be. And let me explain what I mean by that. Whey Forward, despite being called whey protein, is actually animal free. It is not derived from milk. Now I'm gonna need to read off my notes because I am not an expert at how Whey Forward is actually cultivated, but essentially it is fermented. Tiny organisms called microflora are fed plant sugars that they then convert into dairy identical protein while using up to 99% less water and emitting up to 97% fewer emissions. So this is definitely a lot more sustainable if that is important to you. Whey Forward is probably your best option when it comes to sustainability. I'm gonna link MyProtein's explanation video as well as Perfect Day's FAQ. Perfect Day is essentially where they get this like Whey Forward technology from. So if you're curious about that, check that out. Now it's gonna be your call whether you decide this is vegan or not. However, it is worth mentioning it is also still a complete protein, meaning it comes with all 9 essential amino acids. So it's pretty much identical to whey protein. 1 scoop, which is 25.2 grams, is 90 calories, 0 grams of fat, 3 grams of total carb, 1 of which being dietary fiber, and 20 grams of protein. So not bad for an animal-free protein powder at all. It also tastes great. You would think, okay, it's probably gonna taste a little bit weird. Nah, this I would say tastes cleaner than actual whey protein. Consider it like, you know how there's dairy milk and then there's different plant milks? Almond milk's kind of coconut milk's Consider this more like oat milk, where it's very close to actual milk. Like it tastes good. But yeah, you guys are just gonna have to try for yourself. Now building off Whey Forward, next up we got probably another one of my favorite protein powder products, and that is MyProtein's Whey Forward iced coffee. Woo! This is essentially the same animal-free Whey Forward from earlier, but with an iced coffee twist, meaning this actually comes with caffeine. In fact, 1 scoop contains 150 milligrams of caffeine, so it is quite potent. It comes in a bunch of different flavors: roasted chocolate coconut, toasted cafe churro, as well as spiced dirty chai. All of them are really good. And compared to coffee, you tend to feel the caffeine more with this, at least quicker, because the caffeine is probably just powdered instead of like, you know, having actual coffee where it has to be metabolized by your body. For 1 scoop, which is 29.7 grams, this is 110 calories, 1 gram of total fat, 5 grams of carbs, 2 of which is dietary fiber, and 21 grams of protein. So still pretty solid macros for an iced coffee product. And again, doesn't really make it seem like you're taking protein at all. Like these actually taste good. I would go as far as saying this is a better deal than Starbucks. If you break down the scoop and like, considering you're using regular milk or even almond milk, right? It still comes out cheaper taking a scoop of this per day rather than getting a grande iced latte, whatever pumpkin spice thing from Starbucks. Now moving on to the vegan protein powder, starting with the complete proteins, and that is pea protein. This is MyPro's the IOP. So as you can tell by the nice fancy bottle, this is their professional sports line. Now MyProtein claims this is nearly 300% more bioavailable than standard pea protein. For one scoop, which is 30.8 grams, it is 100 calories, 0 grams of fat, 3 grams of total carb, one of which being dietary fiber, and 21 grams of protein. So this is a solid, hefty vegan protein powder. I'm curious to try this chocolate peanut butter flavor. And lastly, we got the plant protein. Also another one of MyProtein's professional sports line of protein powders. Now, this contains a blend of pea protein, pumpkin seed protein, and watermelon seed protein. So it has a lot of different vegan proteins. Now, like the other plant protein, this is also an excellent source of fiber. For one scoop, which is 37.35 grams, it is 150 calories, 3 grams of total fat, one of which being saturated fat, 4 grams of total carbs, 2 of which being dietary fiber, and 25 grams of protein. So this is pretty much the most dense vegan protein powder. Now the last thing I want to talk about, which is not actually protein powder, but protein snacks. There's a lot of them, but the one that I recommend the most that just tastes delicious are MyProtein's crispy wafers. Both the vanilla or the chocolate ones are freaking gas. Now these contain whey protein, so it is vegetarian, but not vegan. For 2 wafers, it is 210 calories, 9 grams of total fat, 6 of which is saturated fat, 13 grams of carbs, 6 grams of sugar, 2 of which are added sugars, and 15 grams of protein. So these snacks pack 15 grams of protein. Sure, there's a lot of other stuff too, but let me tell you, these will blow your mind. The goal with protein snacks in general is to give you an alternative to other snacks. So instead of eating like a Snickers or something like that, you eat this instead, and you at least still get 15 grams of protein and some decent macros. So I don't eat a whole lot of protein snacks. I don't recommend them in general usually, but my mind was changed after having these because they're just really that good. And on to my final recommendations. Now, I'm gonna give you my top 3, starting in 3rd place. I'm gonna go with the classic Impact Whey concentrate. So ordinary whey concentrate. Specifically, this pumpkin spice flavor is super good. I'm choosing it because it is the most affordable option. So if budget is in mind, just get the Impact Whey. Now when it comes to 2nd place, I have to go with this top row right here, the Whey Forward iced coffee line. Specifically, my favorite flavor is this roasted chocolate coconut. Serve it with ice. Ooh, it is amazing. It's pretty much like a latte. You can replace it with your morning latte because there's also 150 milligrams of caffeine per scoop. And considering that this is iced coffee, the macros are still really good. 110 calories with, was it 21 grams of protein? Super solid choice. And you'll probably save money from those Starbucks lattes while you're at it. But then 1st place overall, I have to go with MyProtein's Clearway line. I think MyProtein struck gold with this idea, making protein powder more juice flavored rather than a traditional shake. It comes in so many different flavors, including branded stuff like Mike and Ike, sour cherry. These 2 are probably my favorite, but also from a macronutrient perspective, super clean macros, 80 calories, 20 grams of protein. It's pretty much all protein because they use hydrolyzed whey. But yes, clear whey protein, definitely the GOAT amongst them all. This is why I specifically go with MyProtein, literally because of this product alone. That wraps up everything you need to know about protein powder. Now we went through a bunch of different flavors. Let me know if you'd be interested in a taste test. Drop it down in the comments. Also drop down which one of these protein products was your favorite. And if you're gonna get some protein powder, definitely use code PATH during this Black Friday sale that is going on right now for MyProtein. You're gonna get a big discount on that, so jump on it. If you're thinking about getting protein powder, get it now while it's actually like the cheapest out of the year. With that said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Leave a like and hit subscribe if you wanna see more videos just like this. I'll see you on the next one.